guys, it's Angelo, and today we're having a look at the Shadow Priest Azerite Traits and which ones you will want to be going for in battle for Azeroth. With the new Azerite Traits come lots of possibilities, limited though by the artifact and the way it is constructed, but still very reminiscent of the artifact traits we had in Legion. In this video, we'll have a short rundown of what exactly these Azerite traits are and what they do, before diving into which ones are best for the Shadow Priest and why. Now, with that being said, let's go right ahead and have a look. Now, first off, let's give ourselves a quick rundown of what exactly the Heart of Azeroth does for you and what Azerite traits actually are. Your Heart of Azeroth will be given to you via a mandatory quest directly at the start of Battle for Azeroth's content, and serves as your necklace. The necklace directly does not offer any Azerite traits, however, it allows you to unlock the traits which can now be found within any shoulder, chest, or helmet that you loot. Now, the Azerite traits found in each of these items are separated through a ring system, and every ring offers a different set of traits, of which you can choose one to fill the slot of that ring. Examples of how Azerite traits work are displayed on screen now, and as you can see, each ring represents a tier of traits of which you'll ultimately get to choose one from. Unlike the artifact traits from Legion, this means that you'll need to actually choose what is best for you or what actually feels suits your gameplay, rather than just picking any trait, as you will not have all traits simultaneously at any point during the game. You gain new Azerite traits through obtaining Azerite, which is essentially the new version of artifact power and will be obtainable essentially the same way as artifact power was in Legion, so be it world quests, dungeons, raids, PvP, you get the idea. The better the gear you loot becomes, the more Azerite will be required to unlock the traits, and each tier, or ring of traits, requires more Azerite to unlock. What also needs to be said is that all Azerite traits are split into different categories, and depending on this, you will only be able to obtain them in a specific ring. Utility traits, for example, like shields or passive healing or CC, are always found in your innermost Azerite ring, while indirect damage buffs are always found on the middle ring, and direct damage buffs will always be found in the outermost ring. Good. Now, with that quick rundown on traits, let's dive into those traits which will be the best on the Shadow Priest. Slightly different this time than with my other videos, which include rankings, I will split our best Azerite traits into the respective 3 tiers, just like they will appear in-game, so from the outermost tier or ring to the innermost tier or innermost ring. Now, there are a lot of Azerite traits to choose from, and listing them all here would literally make the video too confusing in my opinion, so I will limit the listing to only the best of each respective ring. Good. That being said, for tier 3, the outer tier, our best traits are Whispers of the Damned, Thunderous Blast, and Chorus of Insanity. Whispers of the Damned will let your Void Bolt increase the damage of either Shadow Word of Void, if spec'd, or Mind Blast, stack up to 6 times. It's important to note here that this buff is not consumed by your Mind Blast, meaning if you're good at playing in your Void form and can maintain it for longer periods of time, you can use this buff to your advantage quite nicely and will gain a pretty big chunk of extra damage in the long run. Thunderous Blast will grant you the chance to deal extra damage to an enemy whenever you deal damage with your regular spell rotation, and will then increase the damage that your next proc of Thunderous Blast does by 20%. This buff will stack up to 100% of Thunderous Blast damage, at which point your next Thunderous Blast will deal 100% extra damage and will critically strike, then resetting the effects back to its basic. This trait is actually incredibly strong because it procs relatively often and also offers a very strong burst, which is ironically something that the Shadow Priest is not as bad at anymore as it was before. Finally, in our outer ring, we have Chorus of Insanity, which grants you critical strike for each stack of Void Form after Void Form ends. Your critical strike gain then increases or rather decays every 1 second, until it's gone, similar to Lingering Insanity, one of your level 90 talents. In most situations, you won't reach void forms that are higher than 20 to 26, possibly 27 stacks if things go pretty well for you, but the amount of crit you actually gain from this is definitely quite a bit, and as you'll be getting into void form pretty frequently, especially so with Legacy of the Void, which you'll be using most of the time, this buff will be with you at various levels throughout most of an encounter. Our middle ring, as mentioned before, consists of direct damage increases or buffs, so anything that has a chance to trigger immediate damage or direct stat increases and the like. Here, our ideal traits are Blood Siphon, Elemental Whirl, and Unstable Flames. Blood Siphon increases our mastery by a flat amount and also grants us Leech, while Elemental Whirl gives our damaging abilities the chance to grant a buff which increases one of our secondary stats, so crit, haste, mastery, or versatility by a formidable amount for 10 seconds. Its proc chance is pretty alright, as it does proc around once to twice per minute, and can obviously become especially strong when the proc lines up with that of other Azerite traits, like Chorus of Insanity. Unstable Flames, the last Azerite trait in this ring to mention, lets your damaging abilities have a chance to grant you critical strike rating for 5 seconds, and this effect can stack up to 5 times. The more critical strike, the better, and with the influence of Bloodlust or Heroism for example, as well as during a good void form, this can proc quite frequently, giving you a high amount of critical strike for a potential maximum of 25 seconds, of course in intervals of 5 seconds tops. In the innermost ring, we find ourselves with the utility and survivability traits, as mentioned before. Here we have Sanctum, Resounding Protection, and Vampiric Seed. Sanctum grants you a shield whenever you use Fade, which absorbs a flat amount of magical damage and lasts 10 seconds. Again though, only magical damage, so this is not an overall absorb shield. This is good as Fade can be used whenever you need it and is an instant cast, meaning the shield can actually be triggered preemptively before major magical damage comes your way. Resounding Protection is essentially the BFA version of Pridus, our legendary neck from Legion, as it gives you an absorb shield, and this is actually an absorb shield for anything, so magical damage and physical damage, every 30 seconds. Vampiric Seed is nice as well, as any enemy you kill actually heals you, while also giving you some speed rating for 6 seconds. This comes in quite handy in Mythic Plus, and the extra heal is not only a slight relief to your healers, it can actually save you a lot of time and stress as well. Good. Now, if you stick to these traits, you'll be off well. Just keep in mind that you can only ever have one of each in the according ring or tier. You can, however, have the same trait up to 3 times in total. If, for example, your helmet has the same trait in the outer ring than your chest does, you can pick that trait in both armor pieces and obviously stack the effects. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like the new Azerite trait system? For me personally, I feel a little bit underwhelmed at the moment, but this may be because the Legion artifacts were comparatively much stronger, or rather more gameplay changing, than the Azerite traits are. Nonetheless, Azerite traits are a good way to keep progressional systems for any player going, which gives you something to work towards whenever you play, and gives you something to min-max to a certain extent when you want to get the most out of your spec. I tried keeping this video a bit shorter and more to the point, and let me know if you liked that, or if you'd like me to give more thorough input for the upcoming Azerite trait guides for the Disciplined Priest and the Holy Priest. If you want to join the discussion with other priests of the community, be sure to join our Discord, where we share insights, ideas, and knowledge with one another on a daily basis. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you have enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, and if you want to stay updated on the content of this channel, feel free to subscribe. Special thanks to my supporters over at Patreon, and have a good one my friends, and I will see you all in the next one.
Bye.